Here's how to take two pinch pots and attach them together. First of all, both pinch pots need to be the same width, which means they will actually fit together when you put them together. If your pinch pots are different sizes, for example, this one's a little bit more narrow, it's not going to fit very well together. So the only way you'll guarantee that both of your pinch pots will fit together is if you start with the same sized balls for each pinch pot. So you need two of them, the same size, in order to have two pinch pots that are the same size. A couple troubleshooting issues you might have making a pinch pot. If you notice that the edges of the pinch pot are cracking, that's because your clay is pretty dry. What you could do is just spray a little water and use a sculpting tool to kind of blend it together. That's one method. Now, if you have cracks on the bottom of your pinch pot or cracks on the inside, your clay is dry. You need to get it more moist and you need to re-wedge it. You'd have to restart. What you could also do though, if the edges of your pinch pot are cracking, is you can actually trim it using a fettling knife. Take a fettling knife and you'll just trim it by carefully drawing a line. You can just draw a solid line and then you can literally carve away. You can literally trim off the cracks that are along the rim. So then you have a nice solid rim. If your pinch pot just seems really soft and the walls are really flexible, your clay is just too soft to do anything with at the moment. So you can let your pinch pot sit for about 5 minutes, let the clay actually firm up, right? Let it dry out a little bit, and it should be not so flexible because we don't want the walls of your pinch pot to be super flexible where it goes in and out. Now, to attach your two pinch pots together, you're going to need slip and your paintbrush. You'll need your sponge. You'll need your rubber rib. You will need your needle tool as well as some sculpting tools. You need to actually score both parts of the pinch pot because these are the areas of the pinch pot that will be attached together. So when you make your score marks, make sure you make them deep enough because this is where the slip actually gets into when we apply the slip. Now that you have scored both sides of your pinch pot, you need to apply slip. You only have to apply slip to one side of the pinch pot. And what's nice about the slip is it's not just like a glue to attach your pieces of clay together, but you can also use the excess that seeps out to help blend the seams together. So once you have your two pinch pots fit together, you need to actually start blending them. You can blend them using your fingers. You can blend them using a sculpting tool, but you can't rush this process because if you push too hard, you can accidentally push the walls in. Now, don't worry too much if you see like a bulge from the walls of where you're attaching them together because we're going to work on refining the edges and the sides after they've been attached. So all I'm really doing here is I'm just taking a tool, I'm taking my finger and dragging some of the clay upward. At some point, maybe take your piece upside down. See, this part's cracked open. Take it upside down as well and work on smoothing it out. You can, again, smooth it with your fingers. You can add a little bit of water if necessary to smooth it out. Now, if the walls curve inward, you might have to carefully detach it and rescore it and reslip it. So to detach it, you might want to take a fettling knife to cut it, fix what you need to fix, and then reattach it. So like here, I need to work on getting that all blended together. I'm going to use a sculpting tool. Now, once you have both halves attached, you've basically trapped air. But something you can also do because this has trapped air is you can kind of roll it around and form it
into whatever form you need for your project. So that's the advantage of actually trapping the air. Now, if you have an area that just doesn't want to fit together, you can always take a little bit of clay. Just roll up a small coil like this. Just roll a little piece of clay between your fingers. You can make a coil like that. And because this is happening on mine, so I'm going to show you what I do. And I scored it. I scored the piece, and I'm going to put it right on there. And if I do it carefully and gently, I'm basically patching the hole. Of course, we want to smooth this out. I'm going to turn upside down for here. Believe me, no one will know as long as you smooth it out. Now, at some point when your two pieces start to firm up really well, like right now my clay is a little too soft, but once it starts firming up, you can also take your rubber rib and actually smooth out the surface. You'll probably want to do this when your clay is a little more firm. If you try doing this and the seam is ripping, that means you just haven't let the clay sit long enough. But at some point, if you want to smooth this entire form, this is when the rubber rib is really cool because you can bend it. You can bend it to the surface. Again, we have trapped air. I wouldn't squeeze it too much or you will poke a hole. Be a little gentle with it.
After you have your body constructed, you have a couple options. Either you're just using this for your project as is, or you're adding a head. You're adding another pinch pot, or possibly two pinch pots put together to create a head. Remember, you do have some options with your construction. So with my particular plan, I have these two pinch pots attached together, and then I'm going to attach a head on top. So first of all, you want to make sure that your pinch pot for the head is going to actually fit, right? Like this is an okay size. If the top pinch pot for the head is too wide, it's not going to fit very well with the body. So pay attention to the actual size that you use for the head. First of all, double check visually. Is this going to work? Where do you want to put the head? First, take a needle tool and I'm going to draw where I need to cut out. Because the thing is, if I just attach this head right on here, the problem is I've trapped air. There's air trapped in here. There's air trapped in here, which means the head will blow up when it's fired in the kiln. Again, we don't want to trap any air. So what I will do is I will take a needle tool and actually draw where I plan to cut out. This is so I can visualize first. Now you don't have to make the hole too big, but when you are ready to cut out the space for the head, take your fettling knife, make sure it's relatively clean, and you're just going to cut right through, just like you're slicing a thick piece of butter or cheese. I'm also going to clean it up a little bit. I don't want to leave it completely rough. Again, we don't need a super big hole. We just need enough space for you to attach the head. Now I could attach this like this right on here, right? There we go. So when I'm ready to attach the head, just like when we were attaching two pieces of clay together at any point, the same with the two pinch pots, we need to score the surface. And we also need to score where we are attaching this piece of clay onto. I'm going to guess because I'm probably going to have to blend it together. Then we're going to apply slip. Again, you only have to apply slip to one of the two surfaces. And then I can take this clay and actually attach it together. So I want to make sure I have this seamless neck with the body. So I'm actually going to work on blending it together. So that's my next step here. All right, so as you can tell, I spent some time blending this together. I'm not really happy with the thickness of the neck though. So if you don't like the neck that you have, if you think it's a little too thick, you can take a ribbon tool and you can actually carefully carve away. I wouldn't carve too deep because we don't want to remove too much clay, though you can always score and slip more clay on top.
All right, here's another method for adding the head. Same thing though. Here's the body, here's the head. What is this? Well, this is two pinch pots attached together. So now I need to get this though onto here. And notice I end up actually with a better neck. Now this clay is fairly soft, so be aware. It's gonna cut really easily. And there we go. I've cut into the head. I do need to score and slip this. So let's get this attached. And again, you have to work on it a little bit, getting it all blended together. This is really when a sculpting tool might be more helpful than your fingers, because we do want to hide all the score marks. But this is an easier way to create an automatic neck for your monster. Again.
All right, so the last step in this process is taking your rubber rib. You can also spray a little water on your sponge. You can get the surface all nice and soft. But now we are refining the body. We are helping smooth out everything. It will remove a little bit of clay. That's just the nature of the rubber rib. That this is a great tool you can use to make the form completely smooth. So